Hey Ridgeway, thank you guys so much for tuning into another Word Wednesday. I'm Pastor Penny and I am back with our God Be Like series. I'm coming to you guys with something that's a little bit more personal for me because I feel like that it is something that God has ministered to me and helped to encourage me just recently. And I want to share with you guys because I feel like that it would be an encouragement to you as well. So my topic for today is God Be Like, I See You. Very simple, but it is a powerful message that I was reminded about as I was enduring a really, really rough day. So I believe that I am in a season where God is using my emotions and the things that trigger my emotions to test my faith and test my faith in a way that allows me to draw closer to God instead of hide in the shell that I have used in the past before I surrendered my life to God. And I am learning more and more to come out of that shell and not suppress my emotions and not just bury the things that I'm feeling, but to give them to God in a way that is healing and refreshing for my soul. So, like I said, certain things that I would typically bury and not talk about or not deal with, I am learning to just give those to God. So on this particular day, I was triggered by an emotion that had me really sad. It was the birthday of my best friend that passed away a couple years ago. And typically I don't really get sad about her birthday. Like I really use this as a way to celebrate her life. But on this particular day, I was sad. And I think that my husband and I had gotten to a disagreement and I was like overwhelmed, busy at work. And I just felt like my emotions were just going out of control. My temper and my irritability was really high with Karis, and I was just really all over the place on this day. And I found myself really about to like burst. My emotions were just so heavy and I just wanted to cry. So I found myself on the side of my bed where I typically go to pray and pour out to God. And I just cried. I cried my eyes out and I cried out to the Lord, Lord, why do I feel like nobody cares? Why do I feel like you don't see me? Why do you feel so distant from me today? Why do I feel like I'm just a mass of people and you don't care about my problems? Like, why do I feel so insignificant and so invisible? Like, these are the things that I'm pouring out to God, you know? And I'm really just getting everything off my chest. And as I finally like began to stop crying and just begin to meditate and try to hear what God was saying back to me, I truly felt like I heard him whisper in my ear, I see you, daughter. And it was enough to remind me that God is El Roi. He is the God who sees. And as I began to meditate and remember this, I opened my Bible to the story of Hagar, which can be found in Genesis chapter 16. If you guys don't know who Hagar is, she was the handmaiden of Sarai, who God promised Sarai and Abram a child in their old age. And I guess it took a little too long for God to come through on his promise. So Sarah decided to take matters into her own hands and she allowed her husband to lay with Hagar. In this, Hagar got pregnant, and I'm sure the women had words, they had disagreements because it says that Hagar grew contempt for Sarah, and Sarah was not having it. She was not going to be disrespected and she was not going to be looked down on by her handmaiden. So she began to treat her harshly. She began to abuse her and misuse her, and Hagar had enough. She ran away and she found herself by a spring of water in the wilderness. And in chapter 16, verse 7, it says that an angel of the Lord came to her. And if you guys want to go to me to that chapter 16 verse 7, it says, the angel of the Lord found Hagar beside a spring of water in the wilderness along the road of Shur. The angel said to her, Hagar, Sarai's servant, where have you come from and where are you going? I'm running away from my mistress, Sarai, she replied. The angel of the Lord said to her, return from your mistress and submit to her authority. Stop running from your problems, is what the Lord has told me many times. Then he added, I will give you more descendants than you can count. The angel also said to her, you are now pregnant and will give birth to a son. You are to name him Ishmael, which means God hears. Remember that, for the Lord has heard your cries of distress. Skipping down to verse 13, it says, therefore Hagar used another name to refer to the Lord who had spoken to her. She said, you are the God who sees me. In Hebrew, it's El Roi. she also said, you have truly seen the one, I truly seen the one who sees me. And this is what encouraged me, because it's like Hagar was left in this wilderness, and she was alone, she was afraid, she was pregnant, she didn't have anything, she didn't know where to turn, but God met her where she was, even though she reacted in a way that was not pleasing, because he sent her right back into it. Even though she reacted in a way that she shouldn't have, he still met her where she was. He came into the wilderness and reminded her that I see you and you are not alone, and I will walk with you through this struggle. And even though you were mistreated, I still have a promise for you. Even though these people mishandled you, I still have a promise for you with the birth of your son. So Hagar went back and she finally gave birth to Ishmael. And a little while later, Sarah gave birth to her son, Isaac. And in this, it says that Isaac and Ishmael were brothers, and Ishmael, as an older brother, grew to mock Isaac a little bit, and Sarah was not having this. So in the Bible, in verse 10 of chapter 21, it says, so she turned to Abram and demanded, get rid of that slave woman and her son. He is not going to share the inheritance with my son Isaac. I won't have it. Even though this upset Abram very much, because Ishmael was his son, it says, but God told Abraham, do not be upset over the boy and your servant. Do what Sarah tells you. For Isaac is a son through whom your descendants will be counted, but I will also make a nation of the descendants of Hagar's son, because he is your son too. So Abram did what Sarah said. He sent Hagar on his way with a little bit of water and a little bit of food. And Hagar found herself in the wilderness once again, alone with her son. In verse 15, it says, when the water was gone, she put the boy in the shade of a bush. Then she went and sat down by herself about 100 yards away. I don't want to watch the boy die, she said, and she burst into tears. But God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven, Hagar, what's wrong? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Remember, God told Hagar to name her son Ishmael, which means God hears. And now Ishmael is crying, and God is hearing his cries just as he hears our cries when we are in a time of need and lack. So it says, go to him and comfort him, for I will make a great nation of his descendants. Then God opened Hagar's eyes, and she saw a well full of water. She quickly filled her water container and gave the boy a drink. And God was with the boy as he grew in the wilderness. So I just want to continue to remind you guys that just as Hagar found herself in the wilderness not once, but twice, God was there and he saw her, and he wanted her to know that through her struggles, he was with her and she did not have to worry. And I believe that that is a word for all of us, to know that through our struggles, God is there. And even though he allows these things to happen in our life, even though he allows struggles, and there are people in this world that are not compassionate, there are people that are not sympathetic to the things that we are going through, and they mistreat us and they abuse us, I want you guys to understand that that is not the heart of our Father. Our Father is compassionate. Our Father is loving. Our Father cares about the things that you go through, that I go through. And this is what I was reminded, that God sees me. And I want to encourage you guys that God sees you too. He is El Roi. He is our provider. He is our healer. And he is our way maker. He is everything that we could ever imagine him to be. So in your time of need, I encourage you to give your troubles to the Lord. Be anxious for nothing, the Bible says. Pray unto the Lord, and he will meet you where you are. I just want you guys to know and understand and believe that word for today, because it will help take you through many struggles and many mountains that need to be moved out of your life. So as I said, I pray that this word brings a little encouragement to your life, as it has for mine. And just remember that in your time of struggle and in your time of need, when you're feeling lonely and helpless and that no one cares about your struggles, El Roi does. So I pray that you guys receive this message. I pray that you have a wonderful Wednesday, and I hope that you tune into our Encouragement Thursday. Join us for worship on Sunday. We are starting our Women's Month. Pastor Calvin will kick off our Women's Month with a continuation of his Play Your Position sermon series. So join us for that, ladies. Bring your notebooks, because it's going to be good this Sunday. So I pray that you guys have a wonderful Wednesday, and until next time.